Coming up on today's show, we are talking about your story, your purpose, and your impact. Hello, darlings, and welcome to Wake Up and Show Up Live. I'm your host, Portia Scott, and this is a daily show giving you a daily dose of inspiration and empowerment to take your life off autopilot. Listen, guys, thank you so much for joining. It is Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Daryl, thank you so much for joining. Val, thank you so much for joining, darling. Hello, mommy. Thank you so much for joining, darling. Love it, love it, love it. You guys, thank you so much. It is Friday. Who is excited about Friday? I'm excited about Friday. So I'm super excited. We are at the end of this week where we have been talking about all things productivity. Oh, you like my outfit? Thank you, girl. Thank you. You know, Auntie got her eyes on. Well, you know, your baby, because that's my mom talking. But anyway, Auntie got her glasses on because you know when I have my glasses on, it's teaching time. But it also means that something bit me earlier this week. And so your girl got to put her glasses on like the Purple Rain shirt. Come on, somebody. Let me tell you, when I was younger, I probably shouldn't have been watching Purple Rain. But you know, my mom is a little hippie. I probably should not have been watching Purple Rain, but that was one of my favorite shows. That and Mommy Dearest. While we're on it, what were some of your favorite shows growing up? Tell me. Why is that important? Because all of this encompasses who we are and the stories that we tell. And those stories come out in our purpose. Those stories come out in our goals. I loved Purple Rain. You guys, never meant to cause you any problems. Oh, never meant to cause you any pain. Oh, you guys, oh my goodness. Claudine, yes. Y'all, it's so, I'm telling you, I loved that show. Oh my goodness. That, man, I'm telling you, I miss Prince. But I loved Purple Rain. And so when we were allowed to go out, I went to the Target and they had the Purple Rain shirt. So thank you guys so much for joining. You guys, as always, what are we grateful for today? What are we grateful for today? I am grateful for classic movies. Come on. I am grateful for R&B singers, real R&B singers. I am grateful that we have had some and still have creative minds. So yes, old school stories and old school movies. And I'm not even going to say old school, but just older movies just give you a sense of nostalgia. And we all need that. I feel like, that oftentimes they can be serendipitous. So I love it. So you guys, what are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? Hello, darlings. Thank you guys so much for joining. Stephanie, darling, thank you so much for joining. So you guys let me know, what is it that you are grateful for today? Because I am so grateful, like I said, for those old school movies like Purple Rain, Mommy Dearest. Come on. What else are some good ones? School Days. Let's Go Back. Roots. I love all of that. So I love movies because they tell stories. I'm grateful for the Purple Rain shirt that you will be giving me. Come on, somebody. Daryl, you cannot fit this shirt, buddy. But I tell you what, if I go to Target and they have a shirt in your size, you know I'm going to cop it for you. Got you. So you guys let me know, what are you grateful for? As always, you guys, we do this daily show because we want to, initially it was a spinoff from the Wake Up and Show Up podcast, which if you have not checked out this week's episode, you have to go check it out. It is absolutely important. There's one quote in the show that says, where you are is just a door to where you're going to go. Isn't that so good? Because we understand that when we open doors, it's for us to get out or in somewhere. Anyway, that was one of the nuggets that we got. But if you want to stay up on what we're doing, text the phrase wake up to 31996. That's wake up to 31996. So you know when an episode is going live, you know when we're going to be live on here, and for some inspiration and empowerment. I promise we don't spam. But so if you want to stay in touch with us, text the phrase wake up to 31996. Also, share to my replay viewers. Thank you so much for hanging in there. I know it's a little different online, but thank you so much for listening to the replay. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the likes. Thank you so much for the feedback and everything that you've guys been saying. Grateful for music. I had a dance fest this morning with God. Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. Grateful for music. So you guys, one of the things, hey Trev, how are you, darling? Thank you so much for joining. So one of the things that we've been talking about, and I want to get into the content because this week we have had an incredible week. We've been talking all things productivity. On Monday, we talked about what the difference was between productivity and being busy. And then on Tuesday, we dived deep into what were those 4 behavior types. Can you guys tell me what were some of those 4 behavior types? I promise you, this is not a pop quiz. I just want to know and have some feedback. But one of the things we talked about, those 4 goal setting archetypes. We all know that archetypes are just a fancy schmancy word for behaviors. And so we talked about the CEO whose drivers she's or he is result oriented. We talked about the free spirit, that particular person. As hey Tracy, thank you so much for joining. That particular person, the free spirit, they are driven by adventure. They are driven by passion. They are driven by freedom. Then what we talked about was the Good Samaritan. That particular person is driven by other people and helping other people, which is so nice and so Mother Teresa like. And so the Good Samaritan, they're also they have great expectations for what people expect of them. And so then the perfectionist is the last one. And the perfectionist is driven by being the expert, right? And so then we broke it down and we talked about some of their constraints and some of the opportunities we had to lean into our behaviors, that we just don't want to know our behaviors. We just don't want to take Myers-Briggs anymore, the Enneagram. We want to make sure, or Strength Finders, whatever it is, we want to make sure that we are leaning into those behavior types because that is who we are. And so that's why I think Friday, we're going to just tie it with a bow. And one of the things I said we want to talk about is your story, your purpose, and how you impact humanity. Portia, what does that have to do with behaviors? It has everything to do with our behaviors, because oftentimes we have been in this genetically modified world of how we have to show up, and we have to show up to look a certain way, to be a certain person, to act a certain way. And I just believe that our behaviors are a sum total of our experiences, our exposure, and our expectations. And so oftentimes, if those things don't look like what they should or look like somebody else's, then it feels like we're wrong. And so that's why we talked about those behaviors. Why? We don't want to judge, but what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're leaning into the people that we are. What are my strengths? But what are my opportunities too? What am I most likely to do? Why can't I lean into that and be this amazing person that I'm supposed to be? And so when we talk about stories, we talked about the bars, right? Where we talk about behaviors impact our actions and our results, and they tell the story. And that story is our internal, also our external narratives. So most importantly, it is our internal narratives. Hello, darling. Thank you so much, Tracy. So one of the things you guys know we love to do is that if something is resonating with you, we say, hello, darling, to let me know, to let the community know that, girl, you said something in the comments, or guy, you said something in the comments, or Portia, you said something that resonated with me. And so again, it is the behaviors that move our actions, and we get those results. And it's the stories that we continue to tell ourselves. That is internal, that is external stories that we tell. Why are the internal stories so important? The internal stories are so important because those drive your behaviors. It all goes back to that. It all goes back to, who am I? What is my archetype? And that is defined a lot of times by the stories that we tell ourselves. So changing those stories. What is that external story? That external story, when we talked about goals and we talked about behavior types, what we're saying is, do these goals line up with my purpose? Do they line up with my story? Do they line up with the way that I'm going to impact humanity? That's why I asked you guys to write down those goals that you think that you could achieve within 7 to 14 days. Why? Because we already broke it down Yesterday, we broke it down to how you achieve your goals, affinitizing our goals, which is just a fancy schmancy word for saying put all the activities together, making sure that they start with the verb so that we know we're doing something and all of that. So if you missed yesterday, if you missed any of this week, you can go back to any of the lives and it will catch you up to where we are today. But the reason why we did that, the reason why I said you pick your goals, and at the end I said pick a goal, and I asked the question, did you just pick a goal because I said so, or did you pick a goal because this was in your heart? One of the reasons why I said that is because oftentimes we do stuff because people say so. Somebody told me at the beginning of the year I should have a New Year's resolution. What if I don't want a New Year's resolution? What if I wasn't done with what I was doing before then? Or what if I don't necessarily want a goal, but there's a place that I want to be? Or maybe there is a word that is going to resonate with me that is now going to ignite the way that I show up. So it's so important that as we are looking at our stories, our external stories, I want our stories to be in line with who we are, to be in line with our purpose and our impacts on humanity. You know, oftentimes we say, oh, okay, I'm gonna start a goal on Monday. I tell you guys all the time, I try not to put my goal starting dates on Monday. Why? Because those are just things that we've always done. And we feel like, oh, well, we have to start on a new day, a new month. By the way, this is May 1st. So if you guys want to start something new, it's fine. But I would recommend you start it tomorrow, not today. Why? Because it changes your mindset from what you have to do. So when we talked about goals, we talked about setting them specifically for you, specifically for your purpose. So we talked about goals. We talked about affinitizing. We talked about behavior types. And I want to talk about those stories that are so important to you. There's something in your story that drives you. One of the things that drives me is that when I think about exactly, and nothing that's under a 6. So if you have a goal, we want to prioritize it from 1 to 10. Anything less than the 6, throw it out because that won't be important for you. And so you won't do it. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about was really in your stories. One of the things when I created Portia Scott Media, like I didn't have this elaborate thing that I wanted to do. But you know what I want to do is that I want to create a kinder world through storytelling. That's what I do on the podcast. That's what I try to do here, is that we try to humanize those stories. We try to humanize humans, because oftentimes, whether or not we're not kind to each other, sometimes we're not kind to ourselves. And I want to live in a world that's kinder. I want to leave this world to my children and my children's children that's a little more kinder. That's all I want to do, is I just want to create a kinder world through storytelling. And so whatever your impact on humanity is, a lot of you guys want to create a world. You know, my daughter, she's really, really into like saving the turtles and all of this stuff. Why? Because she wants to leave a cleaner environment. You know, one of the things is I serve a church community. And guess what? I want to leave it a kinder place according to what the word of God says. So we all have our impacts. We all have our stories. And why do I want to do that so bad is because I know what it's like to have so much unkindness happen. I know what it's like to feel like there's nobody that thinks they can be kind or caring to you. I know what it feels like to feel like my purpose, my goal, my thing in life is so minuscule, when if you're showing up completely who you are in all of your stories, in all of your experience, in all of your expectations, I'm telling you, that's when you make a difference. That's when your goals begin to line up with what it is that we called it your life philosophy a couple of weeks ago. It lines up with that. And so that's why a lot of this work with goal setting is more than just goal setting, but it's really looking into those stories. I always like to say that, one of the things that I've learned this week is that no matter how you show up, you're going to show up, you said it, being your authentic self. No matter what goals you do, no matter what work you do, no matter what job you do, no matter what relationship you do, you're always going to show up as yourself. You can hide it for a little bit, but you're always going to show up like yourself. Why? Because those are your stories. And you take your stories with you in every organization. You take your stories with you in every goal setting and every vision board planning meeting. You take your goals with you into every boardroom. You take your goals with you into every relationship. You take your authentic self. And so one of the things that it has taught me is that you take it with you. I like to say this, that oftentimes purpose is like a river. It really is like a river. The river is ever flowing, but the nutrients that the river has, the various things that we do within a river, right? So it's not just a body of water, but this body of water gives us water to drink. It also gives us the opportunity for recreational activities. It brings sons and fathers together for fishing. It brings children together, and we can hear the laughter of children as they play in the river, as they play in this body of water for their first time. We can hear the sounds of people screaming as they're whitewater rafting. We can hear and know that this river is powering some type of manufacturing or power plant that's around that. So this body of water, it produces so much. It's not just a body of water, but it has all of these things. And so no matter what it goes into, it's always taking water with it. And so oftentimes our purpose is like that. It's fluid like that. I just don't believe that purpose is just one thing all the time. I believe that there was some purpose for when I was this age and when I'm this age and in this area of my life. But guess what? It's always going with me. And so the way that this one body of water does all of that is the same way that we do in our purpose, that we produce. So when you sit me in a boardroom, I'm going to produce whoever I am. I'm going to be that kindness in the world, right? I'm going to be, my husband used to call me Sister Mercy. I'm going to be that person. Whether you sit me in my own organization, I'm going to be the same person. You're the same person that we can hear that loves to bake, and that's part of your purpose. And you're that person that produces for an organization or makes somebody laugh or makes someone feel validated and valued and important and loved. And so while we're looking for this big bang of purpose, it's sitting right there in your story. It's sitting right there in who it is that you are. And maybe we cannot articulate or put vocabulary to what it is. But when you look back over your goals, when you look back over your stories, your purpose was always there. Because no matter where we put you, no matter where you are, your purpose is going to show up just like that river. It is ever flowing. It is within you. And so oftentimes we're looking for, what is that purpose statement? What is that thing? Just sit me anywhere and my purpose is going to shine through. I can be on vacation and I'm still going to find a way to have a kinder world. I'm still going to have a way to make somebody feel valued, and you too. So your purpose is ever flowing. It's ever evolving. I don't think we ever get to a place where we say, you know what, I know for sure what my purpose is, because if we have, then there would be no need for us any longer. But as long as my purpose is still going, as long as I'm still finding, as long as I'm still searching, as long as I'm still doing, as long as I'm still being seated in a place where my story can be told, where I am the story, I am the purpose, me sitting here, you guys sitting there, you guys being a homeschool mom or homeschool dad, you making cookies for the community, or you getting on Facebook to encourage a community, or you being behind the microphone on a podcast, or you just being the center of your family is purpose. That just by you being there, just by that river being there, people are able to go to that well. They're able to go to the well for food, for water. They're able to go to the well to have a good time. And the same is with our purpose, is that every part of our story has produced some type of purpose for us. And so as we were doing this, when I think about our goals, when I think about our stories, when I think about our purpose, they all come in alignment. And we want to be true to who it is that we are, to those stories that we tell. You guys know how the Power of One came to be. The Power of One came to be because there's a show that came on that started a couple years ago called A Million Little Things. And they came together over pizza, and they would have Friday night pizza. And this particular Friday night, it wouldn't be all the friends because one of the friends took his life. And while there were more questions than answers, The one thing that remained the same was that it took one step. It was a million little things that brought them together. It was a million little things that made Friday night what it was for this group of family. It was a million little things that brought them together when they needed to be purpose for one another, when they needed to show up for one another, when their stories would collide so that they would be there in order to help a grieving friend and friends. It was a million little things that caused this guy to feel like he could no longer hold on. And the story's still going. So we still don't know the reason for that. But because I understood the power of one, it's a million little things. And so Friday night brought friendships together, it brought love and kindness, hope and joy and mercy. It all happens with 1 million things. And so when we look at our purpose, I look at our purpose the same way. It's 1 million little things. It's the power of one. It's the one step. It's the one person you talk to. It's the one person you paid for in the drive-through. That for that person, maybe you were the purpose there because maybe all they had was a something to get themselves, or maybe they were in a situation where they were feeling like nobody cared about them. Then out of the blue, this good Samaritan came and paid for me. Or maybe it's a phone call that you picked up that you were in purpose. And oftentimes we think that purpose is sitting on this ocean and sitting on a beach when your purpose could be the hug, the kiss that you gave to your family. And so I just believe that purpose is far more than we make it to be, but it's much smaller than we're looking for. That it is ever evolving in us and that we're ever evolving in purpose. And so when we talk about our stories, they're all built in purpose. No, all things are not good, but all things work together for the good, for our purpose, for our stories to be our authentic self. A million little things make up our purpose. A million little things make up our story. And at the end of my story, I want to make sure that I impacted humanity and I made it a kinder place than when I was here. I've done the goal setting, I've read the books, I've affinitized my life. We've checked all the blocks. And what I am most proud about, what I'm most proud of, you've done the goal setting. You've done the affinitizing of the charts. You've checked all the blocks. What are you most proud of? That's your purpose. That's your story. Thank you guys so much. This has been incredible. This has been so, so good. Hello, darling. Yes, being your authentic self. You guys, thank you so much for letting me share that with you and sharing it with me. It's so funny that I felt like even over the internet, I could almost feel your energy. So you guys, thank you so much. I want us all to know that we all have purpose and we all have a story, and it is our responsibility to leave humanity better than we left it. And so this weekend, I want you guys to think about that. Once all the boxes are checked, once all the goals are done, once you've had everything that you wanted, what are you most proud of? That's your purpose. That's your story. Thank you guys so much. If you enjoyed it, make sure that you share. Also, as always, if you want to keep in touch with us, we want to keep in touch with you. So text the word wake up to 31996. I promise you, we do not spam you, but we do like to let you know when we're going live, when we have a new podcast episode that is going on. I also want to make sure that you guys are aware that on Mondays, I love to do a motivational Monday. One of the things that I want to do within this show too is I want to bring some of those interviews live. So we would tape the interview and then it would be on audio, but you guys would get to hear it first. Ella is on. I met Ella at a podcasting conference. She's a podcaster, but she's also an amazing storyteller and poet. And so she's actually going to be on the podcast. So Ella, I wonder if we could actually do it live. That would be fun. So if you guys know people with stories that they want to share, stories where they're showing up in kindness and where they're showing up to impact the world, I would love to hear those stories. I would love to tell those stories. And so you guys, thank you so much for showing up. We will be back here Monday. We are here every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. As always, you guys know how we end every single show. Waking up is automatic. Showing up is intentional. Today, we will show up. I'll see you Monday. Same bat time, same bat channel, loves.